Wow. Have mercy. Your brother from the gutter, the slick one, is back behind the wood on a Friday night, Saturday morning on about May 30th, I believe it is. And I am ready to rock and roll here with another slick cast from a safe house located somewhere in South Buffalo. That sound you hear right there, that is real ice. That is not my sound effect ice. That is my real ice. And I am drinking some 2003, I think it said on the bottle, some 2003 Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This stuff is like 103 proof or something like that. It's pretty good hooch. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so did you hear Donald Trump's new nickname? Taco. That's right. And, of course, taco stands for Trump always chickens out. which is so true. I mean, just last week he was going to put tariffs on, was it the UK? 50% tariff on the UK on June 1st. And then the next day he turned it to July 1st. And, you know, Vladimir Putin, he's very mad. He's very disappointed with him. And he doesn't know what he's going to do. But, boy, is he mad. And, of course, he's not going to do anything. He's not going to put sanctions on Putin or do anything because he's a candy ass. That's just the way it is. And the people on Wall Street now have figured out that you just don't pay any attention to Trump. When he says this kind of stuff, you know, so the stock market is kind of evened out because they know that just about anything he says is bullshit. You know, if you don't like what Donald Trump says, just wait a minute, it'll change. Just like the weather in Western New York, right? So he's just full of bullshit. He's a blowhard. In other words, he's a gas bag, a big orange gas bag is what he is. You can't believe a word he says about anything. And all he's doing is fucking up the country. Now, it hasn't gotten bad yet, but they're saying, economic experts are saying that we're going to run into some supply problems come, you know, September, October, because of the shit that's going down with China. And, you know, like shoes. I was just watching something on the news. 90% of the shoes are made in fucking China. So, right, these are the kind of jobs Trump wants to bring back. Can you imagine people here in the United States making shoes for $15 an hour? I mean, who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. We want to do high-tech manufacturing, like the CHIPS Act, which Joe Biden passed, where we've got a couple of companies investing and the government investing in, making chips here in the United States. That's the kind of shit that we should be doing. We're not going to go back to making clothing. We're not going to reopen the textile mills. We're not going to make socks again in Alabama. It's not going to happen. His point of view is just it's so like 19th century. He's living in the past, and these tariffs are a joke. They're not doing the country any good. The court shot him down, and then he got another reprieve for now. But, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And if you, like I've said before, if you wanted to hire somebody to fuck up the United States, no one could do it better than Donald Trump. I'll give him that much. Yeah, Taco, that's his new nickname. Trump always chickens out.
He has a lot of courage to face down Satan.
And how about that big crypto blast that Trump had at the White House to raise money for his crypto coin? You had to be a high roller to get in there. And I guess he didn't even really talk to people. He just kind of, bailed out. I guess he was disappointed. I guess the average donation was only like $1 million or $2 million, and he was hoping for like $5 million. So he didn't even press the flesh like he promised he would with these stupid people that are investing in his crypto coin, and many of them from foreign countries as well. So can you imagine if Biden did something like that? I mean, remember when Obama wore a tan suit and they lost their shit? Imagine if he was raising money for his crypto coin and accepting $4 billion planes from foreign countries. Here's the thing about conservatives. They like Trump being mean to everybody else. They just don't like it when he's mean to them. Like, for instance, a lot of these people that are losing their jobs, government jobs, 270,000 government jobs have been lost. A lot of these people voted for Trump, And they're getting it up the wazoo lock from Trump. And now they're upset. And some of these farmers that have contracts with the United States are upset because they canceled U.S. aid. And the rice and beans and stuff they grow that goes to help the starving people around the world, those contracts are canceled. As Bill Gates said, we had Elon Musk, the world's richest man, the richest man in the world, taking away food from the poorest people in the world. I'm glad that the Tesla is in the shitter. I believe the sales are down 70% or something like that. Elon Musk not doing too good right now. But I mean, you talk about clueless. How could you do something like that and then expect that was going to increase your popularity with people? I mean, that just goes to show you how out of touch this guy is with reality. So they said that Doge they were going to collect $2 trillion in fraud, right? That was the initial goal that they said. Then they changed it to $1 trillion. You know what they ended up with? You know what they ended up saving? $175 billion. $175 billion. Do you know how much the estimated cuts from the IRS, from firing IRS employees is? The revenue that will be lost from now being understaffed at the IRS for all the people that Musk laid off? Anywhere from $500 billion to $2 trillion over the next 10 years will be lost. So, yeah, what geniuses these fucking guys are, huh? I think that's called cutting off your nose to spite your face or something like that. But look, the important thing is that Elon Musk got what he wanted, right? I mean, he's got data on all Americans now. Him and his crew of zit-faced teenage hackers, who many of them are still there. So Elon Musk is left, but his computers are still there, and they've got your data. They've got your social security number. They've got everything. They've got your income. They have got everything. So Musk, he still got what he wanted. I hope it was worth it. Elon Musk is about as popular as a turd in a punch bowl.
He's the hope of America.
Yeah, and now they're saying that Musk may have been high, right? He may have been stoned when he was doing some of this Dodge work. Well, that just makes it even easier to accept, doesn't it? I mean, really. I mean, you know the guy's on something. He's definitely on something. Maybe his psychiatrist needs to tweak his meds. Maybe that's what needs to happen with Elon Musk.
He has a lot of courage to face down Satan.
Yeah, so I'm watching a hearing, and one of the, they're cutting all these government grants. They had that ass clown on. He was the congressman from New York, who's a Republican, Lee Zellner, or whatever the fuck his name is. He's now in charge of the EPA. And, I mean, he canceled like 800 some grants that they had for certain areas in the country that have been basically hurt by pollution, whether it be water, air pollution, whatever. There is a place, I guess, in Georgia. There's a small town there, and something in the water supply, something in the air. Everybody there has got leukemia from this place. And they were going to build, the Biden administration put a grant forward for them to build a clinic there to help people, a medical clinic. And, of course, they canceled it. Just like the story I was telling you about, there was another town, a poor town. They wouldn't do this, of course, in Beverly Hills, but there's a small town somewhere it's somewhere down south, Texas, I think, and the pollution was off the rails, and the EPA had some kind of a monitor up in the air to monitor the air. These people live near a chemical plant, and, same thing, they're getting cancer and everything. Fucking, they come in, the Trump administration, they take down the monitor, and they say that's woke. Anti-woke is anti-intellectualism is what it is. Either that or we've just become, as a country, selfish. Nobody gives a shit anymore. I also see where they shut down the black lung unit for the coal mine workers. Trump, Mr. Coal Guy, right? My ass. There's this special unit that goes around and they test for black lung, and they shut that down. I suppose that's too woke as well. Everything's woke. I'll tell you, you know what's woke is having a candy-ass, chicken shit president who talks out of his ass all the time. He doesn't know shit about shit. When they ask him if his job is to protect the Constitution, he says, oh, I don't know. The lawyers are looking into it.
That is absolutely insane.
And I see where NPR, get in line. They're one of the many organizations that are suing the Trump administration. And, of course, they're also fucking with Harvard, and they're fucking with everybody. And now I guess they're even going to send immigrants that are here legally. They're going to send them out. So if you were here on a work visa or, maybe a special visa because the country that you live in is, under siege or it's not safe to live there, fuck it. He's sending you back anyway. Cubans, Venezuelans, you name it. You're going back. Doesn't matter whether you've got, permission to be here or not, because they're not happy. Trump is not happy with the numbers that they're getting, supposedly, for booting people out of the country. He promised he was going to get rid of 11 million people. And, it's not possible. It's just not possible. So he's got his titties in a twister up about that. So I think they just fired some people in ICE. They're changing leadership in ICE. And how about, speaking of dipshits, how about Kristi Noem when she was on the stand? What was that, about a week ago, when they asked her what habeas corpus was, and she said it was the president's right to suspend laws or some bullshit like that. She didn't know that it was the right to due process. Now, this is the head of national security, right? This Barbie broad from South Dakota. Well, she was the governor of South Dakota. How smart do you have to be? How many people live in South Dakota? Alexa, how many people live in South Dakota?
According to the 2020 U.S. Census, the population of South Dakota is 887,000 people.
Right,
which
so
is an 8.9% increase over the 2010
right,
US
right.
Census.
So there's more people that live in Erie County than in South Dakota. So again, only the best and the brightest in the Trump administration.
Because you're like the coolest person I've ever met, and you don't even have to try.
And switching gears here, because I'm sick of the orange gas bag. Warren Zevon has finally made it, although posthumously, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's right. He will be honored. He is going to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as part of the 2025 class in the category of musical influences, which is a special category for artists whose music has influenced, inspired, and evolved rock and roll. You're damn straight. So, yeah. My man, Zevon, finally getting his due, which is probably the same thing will happen to me, I'll be either coughing up a lung or 6 feet under before I get any accolades. But that's okay. That's all right. And let me tell you, the current state of radio is very, very sad. These big corporations that bought these radio stations years ago, most stations are owned by these big corporations. They own 300, 400, 200 stations. And they are, most of them are privately traded on Wall Street, or publicly traded, I should say, on Wall Street. And their stock is all in the shitter. And they got some CEO that makes $5 or $10 million a year. And they're so cheap they don't want to hire talent. It's a sad, sad state. No one's doing anything original. It's the same shit, the same corporate playlist, the same corporate shit. Nobody is a rebel. It's just boring. And I would not come back to radio the way it is right now, let me tell you, unless I was afforded carte blanche to do what I want to do. I won't come back because I can do what I want to do on this Slickcast. But I mean, come on. It's just so predictable is the word I'm looking for, I guess. It's predictable and boring. There's just no excitement anymore. These big companies, I'm telling you, these big corporations have ruined the broadcasting industry. Two things have ruined the radio industry, and that is deregulation, in which you have these big, massive corporations that own local radio stations, which they don't give a flying fuck about. And the other thing, of course, is, music on the internet, being able to download songs, Napster. I mean, you got a whole generation of kids that are growing up right now that don't even listen to the radio. They get their music online, and, it's a different world. But they're not helping it by really getting rid of all the talent because they're too cheap to pay anybody. They're getting rid of all the talent, and then what they do is they replace you with somebody from another market, and they'll have them pre-record your show for like $6,000 a year. So in the old days, if you had a good jock and he left, or you shit canned him, you would try to get a guy that was just as good or better, even better, and you'd pay the money. Now good, we got rid of him. Now we can replace him with automation and save money. So anyways, it's a sad state. I'm glad that I lasted as long, I guess, as I did. It was a good run, 25 plus years on the night show, and then on and off at 97 Rock since 1982. And I got to say, I had a good career. I was able to make a living doing what I like to do. I would have liked to have, lasted a couple, 2 or 3 more years, but hey, that's okay. That's all right. I'm perfectly happy with the body of work that I have left.
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
And how stupid are we getting as a country now that we have to have public service announcements? Have you noticed the new public service announcement on TV about getting vaccines, where they have these little kids talking, saying to get vaccinated? It's like, wow. We're going backwards in this country. We're going anti-science. We're getting stupider. At some point, 10, 15, 20 over the last 30 years, with the advent of Rush Limbaugh and Fox News and, the whole right-wing universe, where ignorance and stupidity is celebrated. Greed is celebrated. Stupidity, let's fuck over the earth at any cost, because who gives a shit anyways? Because the world's going to end anyways, because I'm waiting for the big return of God. It could happen next week. And, they're in a rush to have it happen. You know what I mean? Forget all these kids that aren't born yet. They're going to grow up in a global warming. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit unless it happens to them.
You gotta be a football hero to get along with the beautiful girl.
Yes. And the Bills minicamp started up, of course. In case you've been living under a rock, you should know that minicamp is underway. And the new stadium, they're saying that it will not be completely finished when they open next June. So you might walk into the John and see some, wires hanging out of the ceiling and, shit like that. But they're going to be, they're going to be able to do a game. They're going to be able to host a game. So I've been watching the videos that they have on YouTube of the stadium updates. And I mean, it's really beginning to look kind of cool. It really is. I like the way that lip comes over the top of the stadium. And they say like 65% of the people will be covered in that stadium, the new stadium, which we don't have a name for. Do we have to give it a sponsor name? Can't we just call it like Buffalo Bills Stadium, or, whatever happened to, just having some class? Everything's got to have a sticker on it. Everything's got to have a fucking sponsorship on it. By the way, this portion of the open bar is brought to you by Greasy Ernie's Taco Emporium and Burrito Haven. Listen, of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are listening to this Slickcast and you like what you hear, and of course, pass it on to your idiot friends. And yes, we are streaming on all the major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube. Although there's no video of me, it's just a cartoon type caricature of me. And of course, we originate out of Podbean. And thanks to Julia from Lakewood Studios for all her help, technical and graphics wise, with this dynamic podcast. Couldn't do it without you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. And until we meet next time, remain calm, circle the wagons, go Bills, live fast, die old, and of course, weed, whiskey, and Warren Zevon in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Hail to the king, baby.